Space Marine 2 is a great game. Seriously, it is. It runs buttery smooth 99.9% of the time, and the gameplay, fun as hell. The enemies are challenging, and those glory kills, they're the coolest thing since the curb stomp in the original Gears of War. And for me, that's saying something. This game does a lot of things right. Deep customization, brutal combat, and it truly nails the power fantasy of being a Space Marine. I mean, I've spent 60 hours customizing my Marine, and I have yet to see two that look alike. So yeah, there's a lot going for it. But, and there is always a but, right? While what is in the game is fun, there's just not enough to do. Like I said, I've logged about 60 hours, and honestly, I've done just about everything there is to do. I've maxed out my chosen class in PvE, mastered all the guns and perk trees, and I played the 6 available PvE missions to the point where I'm way past being bored. At this point, the only thing keeping me coming back is that there aren't any other games I want to play right now, and that's where the game falls short. There's not enough variety to keep you engaged long term. Don't get me wrong, Space Marine 2 is fun in small doses, but once you've cycled through the missions and leveled up, you're left wondering, what is there to do now? Now let's talk about combat. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not as responsive as it should be, and some things just aren't clear. Take the parry system, for example. The blue icon pops up telling me to parry, so I hit the parry button. I block the attack, sure, but it's not a perfect parry, which means I don't get the gun strike option. And in Space Marine 2, gun strikes are crucial, especially on harder difficulties. They keep your armor up and keep you alive. So when you're relying on that parry to trigger a gun strike and it doesn't happen, it can throw off the entire flow of combat. Now, I've been told that the blue icon is just a heads up that a parry opportunity is coming, not the actual timing window. Okay, fine. But in the middle of a battle with 15 or 20 enemies swarming you, it's tough to focus on perfectly timing a parry. More often than not, I just dodge. It's more reliable. I've seen other players consistently nail perfect parries, and that's awesome for them, but for me, the system feels inconsistent. After playing games for over 20 years, when I see an icon telling me to block, I block. I don't sit there thinking, okay, now I need to time this parry perfectly. And that's why, in my opinion, the parry system is flawed. The blue icon appearing should mean it's time to press the block or the parry button, and then the perfect parry takes place. That's how the system should work. And let's not forget the blocking system, which is tied to the same button as parrying. When you've got a swarm of Minoris enemies, those little annoying ones attacking you all at once, it's usually smarter to dodge away or use a crowd-clearing melee combo. Trying to block every hit just leaves you open to more attacks. It's a flaw that comes up every single time I play. Most of the time, again, I find it's better to dodge, reset, and take out the bigger threats before focusing on the smaller enemies. Speaking of smaller enemies, let's talk about shields. The fact that Minoris enemies, the little grunts, can take away an entire shield bar with one hit is ridiculous. I main the tactical class, which has 3 shield bars, and that means 3 hits from the weakest enemies in the game means I'm now losing health. In a game where you're constantly being swarmed by dozens of enemies, that's a problem. Now, you can regain shield by performing gun strikes, but here's the kicker. You're vulnerable during the gun strike animation. So while you're trying to gain back shield, you're also losing it to other enemies hitting you mid-animation. It feels like the game is baiting you into performing a gun strike only to punish you for it. A simple fix would be making you invulnerable during the gun strike animation just like you are during glory kills and executions. There's already a precedent for it, so why not apply it here? Now, I saw recently that the developers said that the gun strike is supposed to be a risk-reward mechanic, but it's almost all risk in many cases because you're stuck in an animation and you're going to get hit. So the shield that you just got back, you've already lost before the animation is even over. I think that's stupid. Now let's talk about bosses, specifically the Hive Tyrant in the second mission. First off, the boss looks incredible. It's fun, it's chaotic, and it really nails that Space Marine fantasy. But the dodging system, yeah, that needs work. About 90% of the time, dodging works fine. But in a high-stakes boss fight, when the Tyrant is throwing out waves of energy, you need it to work 100% of the time, 100% reliably. And unfortunately, it doesn't. I've lost count of how many times I've perfectly timed a dodge only to still get hit. And to make it worse, if you get hit at the wrong moment, you can get stuck in a loop, getting knocked down, getting up, just in time to get hit again, and so on. It's frustrating because I'm all for tough bosses, but the mechanics need to be crisp and responsive, and right now, they're not quite there. Despite these issues, I don't want to give the impression that Space Marine 2 isn't fun, because it really is. The game nails the power fantasy, being this massive Space Marine wading through hordes of enemies with badass weapons. It's all there. The developers also clearly care about creating an immersive experience. But once you've played through the missions a few times, the game starts to feel repetitive. And that brings me to my comparison with another Warhammer 40k game, Warhammer 40k Darktide. In Darktide, you can play the same mission 100 times and it'll feel different every single time. The AI director in Darktide makes sure that every run is unique. In Space Marine 2 though, the missions are fairly static. Enemies spawn in the same places, and the only real variation is the occasional mini-boss that pops up during missions. After a while, the gameplay loop starts to feel stale. And I think that feeling of it being stale is more due to a lack of content rather than the combat loop not being fun and entertaining. Now, here's the thing. Space Marine 2 is still a great game. It's fun, it's polished, and it's definitely worth your time. But it's the kind of game you play in small doses. You'll enjoy it for a while, but eventually you'll get bored and move on. And that's okay. Not every game has to keep you hooked for hundreds of hours. Oh, and before I forget, there's been a recent development that I think is worth mentioning. The CEO of Saber Interactive commented on one of Asmongold's videos, basically saying that Space Marine 2 was designed to be a throwback game, capturing that simple, addicting loop like the original Halo. He talked about wanting to make games that are just fun, without some hidden message or agenda, and honestly, I agree. Sometimes you just want a game where you're the good guy, fighting the bad guys, without all the extra stuff. And Space Marine 2 delivers that. So those are my thoughts on Space Marine 2. It's a great game, but it's not one that will keep you coming back forever. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me, or am I way off base? I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching.